You know, when I make all these videos and I say all these bombastic things, sometimes I do think to myself, is this the right thing to say? Should I be putting this out into the ether? Is this something that I want people to know that I said exactly? And the answer is always yes, because contrary to any random belief, I'm not really controversial. I just see something stupid, call it stupid, maybe make a little funny joke, and go on about my day. Sometimes a lot of you try to chastise me because I tell you things that are correct in society, like, for example, ketchup belonging in the pantry and applewood bacon being the best bacon known to man. Neither of these things are up for debate. But when it comes to like hot button issues or like trending topics, I make sure that what I say is direct and not really controversial, and someone being personally offended really doesn't make it controversial. It just makes it something that they don't agree with. But that is just me, because I'm a sensible human being who understands that saying something outlandish could have negative consequences towards me, and I don't have the mental capacity to deal with that. But when you have people who don't essentially care about the consequences of broadcasting their hatred directly about somebody or something on social media, you tend to realize that a lot of people don't necessarily see the forest for a bunch of trees. And I don't know what's been going on or what's been in the water, but there's been a lot of people openly hoping that individuals in positions of power end up dead. And I don't know necessarily why people are getting on all of these social media apps, broadcasting their entire face, saying, yeah, I hope it happens, or I'm begging someone to do it, or can somebody please do it, or I'll do it.
I promised myself I would avoid the news, but obviously I haven't. Here's my one thought. I mean, I have many thoughts. Elon Musk, like, we need to X him, and by X I mean formerly known as assassination. I know someone from FBI is gonna fucking show up. I don't. Arrest me. You don't have enough people to even investigate me at this point. I haven't filed my taxes in like 8 years, and yet no one's covered me. So I'm gonna fucking say it. Let's assassinate some motherfuckers.
Because I feel as though if you're somebody in a position of employment, you probably shouldn't be doing that, much like every dumbass who was busting out that special salute a couple weeks ago thinking, hey, Elon did it, so I can do it. But why am I bringing all of this up? It's because of this man, the guy who had articles written about him a couple of weeks ago that I could only describe as soft-core fetish porn. He, for some reason, has decided he was going to get on social media and say somebody who is in a position of power should be killed.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him a prominent part of the Republican Party.
And I know what you might think. If you're someone who is a fan of Hasan, you'll sit there and say something along the lines of, you are disingenuous to all the good work he does. This is someone who does great things for communities and lefties and all these things. How dare you? And you're taking him out of context. One, interviewing a terrorist is not doing anything of substantial benefit towards anybody. It's promoting propaganda.
Okay, this is a stupid question. Okay, you can preface it with that. Does he know what One Piece is?
One Piece, like, is that an organization?
No, One Piece is an anime.
Oh, اوكي. اول شيء بقول لك انه ممكن هذا السؤال يكون شوي اهبل، بس بسألك تعرف شو هو ون بيس؟ عمرك سمعت بون بيس؟
اكيد يعني منذ الطفوله وانا اشاهد ون بيس. لوفي.
Is it Luffy?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes, that's fire. That's so fire. Oh my god, dude. We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
You know, I've never seen one episode of One Piece, but I could almost guarantee my left elbow and testicle that Luffy wouldn't stand for anything going on right now. 2, sitting there saying that someone who's losing out on business probably deserves it, or he has no sympathy for them, really doesn't make him look good for the small businesses.
In all of this, that he was just doing his job, going about his day, and his business got ransacked there. But from where we are here, it does that the officers are heading back. In terms
You
of
see what they're doing?
being able to disperse this crowd that they were able to do. We did a story a couple weeks ago about how they were able to go after scooters by kind of circumventing them in that sense. And from my perspective, that's...
I fucking despise local media, dude. There you go. There is no better representation of how dog water local media is and how much they exacerbate like narratives that you see on Fox News. What role they play in the boomer reactionary pipeline. Local media talking about $3 worth of fucking Doritos like, there was a bank run or some shit.
3, him condoning the unconsensual grabbing of girls just because of their financial status really doesn't protect women at all.
At least Patrick Henry College is like doing one good thing, which is that like if you have these fucking millionaire, billionaire, WASP fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date rape to other billionaire, millionaire fail daughters is like, in some respects, from a utilitarian perspective, of course, a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like taking these guys and putting them in a pen with one another is ultimately getting them away from the broader society.
Teaching. And 4, the topic of the video, openly hoping for somebody to be killed is not the smartest thing you could say as a large prominent influencer who's trying to be the beacon of hope for a next generation of voters who are currently dealing with the evils of the man whose spray tan is just so fucking bad. And for the people in the back who think it's a gotcha to say, where's the context? Here's further video of this.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone.
That fraud is not coming from individuals, it's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients, okay? It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the fucking head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something? Like the Republican fundraising initiatives. The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party, is because he, to this day, is still also known as committing the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history.
Context really don't help this man. Can people understand that when you're in these positions of wanting to talk about everything under the sun, you need to actually use kid gloves a lot of the time? Because when you try to be bombastic, when you try to be outlandish, when you try to go viral saying something, it never really works out for you because what you're saying is fucking insanity. And let me stop right there and just say this. I understand that insurance, whether it be car insurance, health insurance, rental insurance, all these insurances do a nice job fucking over the common folk, you and I understand that. And I understand nobody likes it. And as of March 1st, as I'm recording this, it seems as though there's a certain administration in the White House that's signing a bunch of papers that really wouldn't be beneficial to a lot of the common folk as it pertains to Medicaid and all the things that have to do with SNAP benefits. And time will tell how bad that's truly gonna be, and I understand a lot of people's displeasure with that, but to get on camera and hope or condone or promote the death of an individual who is in a position of power don't make that issue go away. It gets somebody dumb enough to feel confident to try it and hopefully end up like Luigi Mangione. I want everyone to hear me clearly. Hasan is a dumbass who has a history of saying things we all know are deplorable. He's been getting away with it because he has favoritism on a streaming platform that doesn't really give him any punishment that's worth a damn. He has an audience full of impressionable individuals who think the dumb things he says that they could say out loud, and that everything is perfectly fine because I can't be criticized because my favorite streamer said these things. And if you take him out of context, or if you say that this is bad, I could just sit there and say you're wrong because you are not sitting there watching 10-hour streams of him sitting there sipping a cup, painting his nails, watching a video, and then sliding to the bathroom and not really watching the rest of it in full detail while he's hiding from some dude named Ethan Klein. It's ridiculous how someone could be in this position of virality and say these things that are that destructive, because if someone acts upon that and they try to tie it back to, well, what inspired someone to do this, and they find that clip, they're liable to put you in front of everybody and say, well, why would you talk to a bunch of people on a live streaming platform in front of thousands of viewers and say these things? Don't you understand that that could inspire somebody to act upon these things? We have this Luigi guy who's done this, and we don't need any more of it. There was just another individual who planned to shoot at a CEO, and now you're here saying these things. Don't you realize how destructive this is? And his dumbass would sit there and say, you're taking me out of context, and that's not fair. Are you not seeing what's going on in the world as I sit there and do nothing with my time and waste everyone else's with my mundane political takes about insert issue here? How dare you? He's a dumb fuck, and it's very simple to understand why he's a dumb fuck. Don't be getting on social media advocating for violence, condoning violence, wishing death upon individuals, or planning it out in some weird succession because you think you're the main character in everyone else's world. Spoiler alert, you're not. You're boring, you're dull, and you have to pay taxes because your deadline is coming up, just in case anyone didn't know about that. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next one. Mwah. Goodbye.